How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Tzadi Aleph, Daf 91 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friends, your friends, Daf 91 is Mamash Gevalt. Alright, let's do it. It's the last Daf of a Moiches Asfino, which is Gevaldik, which means tomorrow we're starting on Mocher Paris. It's the morning. Is it the morning yet? Maybe. Not sure. It's around morning time, and I got coffee. Gewaldig. All right, here we go. Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. So Daf Tzadi Aleph, Amud Aleph, all the way to the top. Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught. Ein mistakim be'Eretz Yisrael b'dvarim sheish boin chayei nefesh. So we don't profit in Eretz Yisrael on staples, on things that are staples. For example, wines, oils, flours, flour, things that the basic staples that people need. So you shouldn't try to profit too much on those. Amar Allah ben Azai, they said about Allah ben Azai that he would profit off of wine and oil. B'yayin, so like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseru, right? By wine, he held like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseru, who said that, well, it's taka, right? He said by exporting wine, that it's taka okay because, having less wine around, it could be okay, meaning people getting drunk less. And so therefore, if he's kind of profiting off of wine, which means that maybe the prices might be more expensive and people may consume less of it, that could be okay. And in terms of profiting off of oil, look, where Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah lived, oil was aplenty. And therefore, there was no concern of prices going crazy because there was plenty of supply. We don't profit double when it comes to eggs. Mari by Mari, Pligi ba Rav Shmuel. There's a machlokes on this between Rav and Shmuel with regard to what it means. Chadomer al chad trei v'chadomer tager l'tagra. One opinion was that it means that you can't double the price of eggs. That if eggs cost 1 dinar, don't charge 2 dinars. Okay, but interestingly, less than double would be acceptable. And the other one, the other opinion is like too many middlemen, right? One middleman to another middleman, because obviously each step of the way the price is going to increase. So you shouldn't have more than one middleman. All right, fine. Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught Masrina pragmatia. What's the Agosabach? Shehuzla vafilu b'Shabbos. That if there is merchandise that decreases in value, that's bad because that means that the people won't be able to make as much money, right? If you have a clothing monger and he sells clothing for 10 dinars, and all of a sudden it's going for 5 dinars, that's a significant impact on your bottom line. So they would cry out to the Ribono Shel Olam when merchandise drops in value. Even if it was Shabbos, they would cry out to the Ribono Shel Olam. Rabbi Yechon says, for example, linen garments in Bavel. I guess that was a big business there. Or wine and oil in Eretz Yisrael. Rav Yosef says, when we talk about that the prices dropped, we're not talking about a little bit, we're talking about a lot of it. For example, it went from 10 dinars to 6 dinars. That's a 40% drop. So that's significant enough that we would cry out to the Ribono Shel Olam even on Shabbos. Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in Eretz l'chutz la'aretz elim ken amdu sasayim b'sela, that we don't make yirida, we don't move from Eretz Yisrael to chutz la'aretz unless amdu sasayim b'sela, unless the prices of food sort of went bonkers and normally it would be 4 sa'as for a selah, but now it's only 2 sa'as for a selah, i.e. the food prices doubled. So in that case, you can go to Chutz La'aretz. Reb Shimon says, Reb Shimon Emasai, Reb Shimon disagrees. He says, wait, one second, just because the prices of food doubled does not mean that Mamela you can move to Chutz La'aretz. Look, if you can afford to pay those prices, you should stay in Eretz Yisrael. Look, if there's nothing, if you can't find any food to buy, that's a different story. If there's no food to buy at any price, well then, yeah, move to Chutz La'aretz, but aval b'zman she'motzi likach. But if you can find, right, if food is available, but it's, expensive, but it is available, afilu amda sa b'sela, even if it's 1 sa for a sela, i.e. quadrupled in price. Los Yetze, you shouldn't leave if you can afford to buy it. So there is technically still food available, even if it's extremely expensive. Right? The Elimelech, right at the beginning of Sefer Rus, Megillas Rus, Elimelech, Machlin, and Killian, right? The husbands of Naomi, Rus, and Orpah. Gedolei Ador Hayu, they were the greatest of their generation. Farnasei Ador Hayu, and they were the, Gvirim, they were the notable people of the generation. Mipnei Manenshu, why were they punished? Why did they all die? Mipnei, wait, what's the Gimel? Okay. Mipnei sheyatzu me'eretz l'chutz la'aretz, because they moved from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Vatom kol ir alein. Vatomar as there's Naomi. That when Naomi came back, it says that there was a whole to-do in the whole tumult in the city. They said, Hazos Naomi, is this Naomi? Maya Hazos Naomi. Omer Yitzchak Omer Chazisem Naomi. Have you seen Naomi? Sheyatzos me Eretz Chutz La'aretz, that she moved from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz Ma'osala, and look what happened to her. She lost her husband, 2 sons. From Yitzchak Oise Ayem Shabbos Rus HaMeyavi L'Eretz Yisrael, that on that day, that Rus came to Eretz Yisrael, Mesa Ishto Shel Boaz. Boaz's wife passed away. V'hanu da'amri inshe, this is what the people say, Delo Shchiv Shichva, that already before somebody passes away, Kaima Manubese, the person who's going to sort of take over and take care of his house, has already been established. Which reminded me of that Gemara, right, which said that when Rav Akiva passed away, Rebbe was born. When Rebbe passed away, Rav Yehuda was born. When Rav Yehuda passed away, Rava was born. Right, that the Eibishter always makes sure that things keep on moving and that the pieces are put in place, and therefore, right, Rus ended up marrying Boaz, and the day that she came back to Eretz Yisrael, Boaz's wife passed away, and then he married Rus. Omar Rabba, Omar Huna, Omar Rav. Ivtzon ze Boaz. Ivtzon was one of the Shoftim, and says Rabbi Huna Rav that Ivtzon was Take Boaz. My Kamash Malon, and okay, what exactly, what's it teaching us? What's it teaching us? Kidach the Rabbi Huna, Omar Rabbi Huna Rav, Me'ev Esem Mishtois Osa Boaz. That Boaz made 120 feasts Livanav for his children. Shneimar, as the Apostle says, Vayi lo shloshim banim, that Boaz had 30 boys, v'shloshim banos shilach achutza, and 30 girls who he sent out to get married. V'shloshim banos hevi Livanav min achutz, and he brought in for his sons 30 wives. Vayishbat Yisrael shavashanim, and he judged the Yidden for 7 years. V'chol achas v'achas also shnei mishtoyos, and for each of his 60 children he made 2 feasts. One in his father's house, and one in the house of the father, his own house, and one in his in the house of the child's father-in-law. He is machatonim. Kilu, the Sudas Erisin and the Sudas Nisurin. And to all of these 120 feasts, he did not invite Manoach, the father of Shimshon. Because he says, look, Manoach at the time didn't have any children. So how will he be able to reciprocate the favor? Right? I'm going to invite him to 60 feastulas. What's he going to invite me to? There's apparently another way to understand, meaning that sounds kind of negative, right? There's another way to understand it, that it's Kilo, he didn't want to make him feel badly. Kilo, I'm going to invite him to, did I say 60, 120 even? I'm going to invite him to all of these feasts. He's going to want to return the favor, but, he doesn't have any children, so he was kind of sensitive in that sense. Shtick of coffee. Tana v'chula meisu b'chayav, and all of Boaz's 60 children passed away during his life. I know this is what the people say. B'chayav d'yaldos shisin. If you have 60 children, shisin lo melech. What ultimately what good is it if they all pass away? Ichbo v'olid chad d'mishisin zoris. Rather, get married again and have one child that will be sort of more effective, than all 60. Meaning, Boaz had 60 children, they all passed away. But then he married Rus, and he had Odeid, and Odeid was the father of Yishai, the father of David. So there you have it. So therefore, if Ivtzon is Boaz, so then kind of this all makes sense. He had 60 children, but they all passed away, and then he married Rus, and then there was Odeid, and David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech, Beis HaMikdash. Rav Chanan bar Rava Amarav, Elimelech v'Salmon, Ufloni Amoni ve'Avi Naomi, Kulam ben Nachshon ben Aminadov, Hein. That says, Rav Chanan bar Rava Amarav, that Elimelech, from Megillah Suos, v'Salmon, Ufloni Almoni, ve'Avi Naomi, Kulam b'nei Nachshon ben Aminadov. They were all the children of Nachshon ben Aminadov. Michael Mashman was teaching us, Shafilu mi sheyesh lo chisovis. Even somebody who has yichis, as chisovis, eina omedes loy b'shash yosem eretz l'chutz la'etz. Will not work if you go from Eretz Yisrael to chutz la'etz. Chisovis won't work. Dartin. Right, because Elimelech died. V'omar Rav Chanan bar Rava Omar Rav, Imei da Avram am Siloi bas Karnavoy. Who was the mother of Avram Avinu? We know his father was Terach. Who was his mother? Who was Abraham's mother? I'll tell you. Am Siloi ben Karnavoy. That's who she was. Imei da Haman. Who was Haman's mother? Am Siloi bas Urvisi. That was her name. V'simanuch Tami Tami Tar Tar. And how do you remember which one's which? Well, Tami Tami Tar Tar. That in a raven is Tame, and that's like Haman, who is Tame. And a carnival, like Korim, fatty sheep, are Tahor, and so was Abraham. Ime de David, Nitzeves bas Urul. David's mother was named Nitzeves, the daughter of Urul. Urul was the daughter of the Baal Shem Tov, the mother of Rav Nachman Breslover. Is that correct? Rabbi Adrian, do you know this? Rabbi Adrian, who is Urul? Rabbi Isaac Lebel, where are you? You're listening, Rabbi Isaac Lebel? Do you have a daughter named Urul? Rabbi Isaac, let me know. Rabbi Adrian, let me know. She was like in Google a bit, but okay, whatever. Fine. Nitzeves bas Urul Shma. Ime de Shimshin Tzlaponis. The mother of Shimshin was Tzlaponis. V'achtei Nashon, and his sister was Nashon. The Ma'anaf Kamina, what's the difference? Why do we need to know this? It's Shuvas Aminim. Well, because if the Minim are going to annoy us and ask us questions, well, who is Abraham's mother? Well, tell them. Am Siloi bas Karnavoy. From Rav Chanan bar Rava Amarav, Eser Shonim Nechbosh Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu was a prisoner for 10 years. Shalosh bekusa v'shev bekardu. 3 years in Kusa, 7 years in Kardu. Rav Dima ben Arda, Maasim Rav Dima ben Arda teaches Ipcha, Fakert, that it was 3 years in Kardu and 7 years in Kusa. And Rav Chizda says, Rav Chizda Ibra Zeira, the Kusa zeu ur kastim. That the place called Ibra Zeira in Kusa, that is Taka ur kastim, of ur kastim fame. where Avram Avinu was thrown into the fiery furnace by Nimrod. From Rav Chanan by Rava Amarav, also Ayom Shenifter Avram Avinu, that on the day that Avram Avinu passed away, Min Ha'olam, Omdu Kol Gidele Umis Ha'olam, all of the great people of the nations of the world stood b'shura in a line v'amru, when they said, Oy la'odam la'olam she'ovad manhigoi, woe is to a world that lost its leader, v'oy la'lesvino she'ovad karbanito, and woe is to the boat that lost its skipper. The Pasuk says, that he raises up all the heads. That even the head of the irrigations is appointed from the Rebbeinu Shalom. That I don't know, the person who was in charge of making sure the fields were irrigated, whatever, that position is appointed by the Rebbeinu Shalom. 1 second, just having a look at my coffee. Just making sure that there's no dead flies in it. I don't think that's a dead fly. Come on, if you're a dead fly, raise your hand. That's totally not a dead fly. No, it's not a dead fly. There's nothing dead fly-y about it. What is it then? I don't know, it could be anything. Chaim, I don't think it was anything serious. All right. Where are we? It says, Chaz v'shalom. No, Elimelech did not make Yeridah because of the prices of wheat. Shafilu matzo subin lo yatsu. Even if they would have found bran, kind of the lowest quality, they would have stayed. Why were they punished? They didn't look. They had technically speaking, when they left, they were allowed to leave. But they also could have prevented that situation. Okay, once the situation happened, okay, beseder. But the situation could have been prevented. How? They could have brought zusammen all the people to daven and pray out and cry out in tefillas and bakoshes to the Rebbeinu Shalom. But they didn't do that. Shneimar bizakech, that if you gathered to call out and gather all the people together, yatziluch kibbutzayich. Well, then the kibbutz will daven and they will save the day. But that didn't happen. So then memele the things got to a point where they had to leave, but it was preventable. Rabbi Bar Chana Omer B'Yechanan L'Shanu Elo Ma'os Bezol Uferes Beyoker. So when we say that, right, that there's like a certain cheshbon, right? We said earlier that normally it's 4 sa'ah for a selah. If prices increase so much that now it's doubled, it's only 2 sa'ah for a selah. So it's all cheshbon of like, it was this, now it's this. How much did it increase? But, right, so we say unless it gets to a point where it's doubled, then you stay. But once it's doubled, you go. But that's only when money is available, but food prices are just getting sort of absurd. So you could afford them, but it's not adding up. So you can leave. But if there is poshit, nobody has any. There's no money to be had. And even if prices are completely normal. For a seller, it's that's the normal regular price. But if you don't have any money to buy it, well then it's impossible. Even the regular price is out of reach. So in that case, you can leave. Rabbi Yechon says, I remember when prices were good, 4 sa'ah for a seller, but yet in Tiberias there were people whose bellies were swollen because they were malnourished, because there was pashit midelays isser, because there was pashit no money to buy anything to eat. V'amar Rabbi Yechanan says, I remember kadlo yahavu mizgirin poyalayla midnoch karto, that the workers would not work to the east of the city. I think in Tiberia, Mereach Pitud Maisim, because the shmef, the waft of the bakeries in Tiberia was so out of this world geschmack that posit you would take one whiff and it could kill you. It was so good. So the people wouldn't work to the east of the city to avoid the outrageously gewaltige waft of the bakeries. V'amar Rabbi Yechanan, Nihirna, I remember, Karava Botza Yenuka Charuva, that a yingle would open up a carob. How the heck do you eat carobs? V'avanogid chuta deduvsha al train droi, and a stream of honey would flow on his hands when you would open up that carob, just push it, oozing with honey. Now, what's the deal with? So, I mean, I think that the Indian here is that he's saying, like, talking about the Yerida Sadoris, right? There was a time when the fruits of Eretz Yisrael, we think the fruits of Eretz Yisrael now are good. He's saying there was a time when Pashit, it would blow your mind how good the fruits of Eretz Yisrael were, even more than they currently blow our minds. And so you'd open up a carob and there'd be so much honey. How do you eat carobs? Has anybody ever eaten a carob? There's Boxer. You get Boxer on Tu B'Shvat. I don't think that was edible. Is Boxer edible? But has anybody eaten carob? How do you eat carob? Apparently you open it up, I guess. I don't know, I feel like that's not... in Shuk Machne Yehuda, I don't think I ever see carob. Wait. Oh, that's good. Wait, what's this? I didn't realize that my phone... Oh, Gewaldig. Gewaldig. I didn't realize my phone was making noise. Baruch Hashem. Okay, Gewaldig. Where are we? Alright. Sure, okay. Where am I? V'amar Rabbi Lazar. It says Rabbi Lazar, here now I remember, Karabanotil Urva Bisra. I remember when a raven would chop a shtickle basar, shtickle meat, and the meat was so fatty, v'nogir chuta de mishcha, that a stream of fatty oils would ooze, would drip, would flow, merei shura, from the top of the wall on which the fatty meat was grabbed from, bad la'ara, down to the ground. From Rabbi Yechanan, says Rabbi Yechanan, nihirna kara'avu metaylin talya v'talya b'shuka. And I remember a time when you could have a young boy and a young girl spaziering in the shuk, kvar 16, 17 years old, v'lo avu cheta. They would not, it would not lead to any kind of inappropriate behavior. All good. People were able to control themselves better. And here in the Karabel, Amorin Be Midrash, I remember when they would say in the Beis HaMedrash, the Moidi Lehon, Naflo B'Yadeo, and that if you admit anything to the Ovdei Kechovim, they're trying to argue with you, and you say, okay, good point, well then you'll fall into their trap. You always have to push back. The Misrachitz Ileon Aleon Dile Dilon, and if you trust in them, well then you're going to end up, whatever is yours will end up becoming theirs. Okay, so of course in Rus it says Machlin v'chilyon, but in Divrei Hayom it says Yoyash v'Saraf. Rabbi Shmuel Chad Omer Machlin v'chilyon Shmon. So Machlokes Rav and Shmuel, one opinion is that their names are like in Rus, Machlin v'chilyon. V'lo Nikra Shmon Yoyash v'Saraf. So then why do we call them Yoyash v'Saraf if that's not their real name? Yoyash and Nisyayish min Agula. Yoyash because they were Misyayish from Gula, that right there, they gave up hope of being saved from the famine. Sarif shenes chayvu sreifa lamakim, and Sarif because they were chayiv sreifa to the Eibishter, I guess, for leaving Eretz Yisrael. V'chad Omer, one opinion, the other opinion is Yoyash v'Sarif Shman. Really, the name is Yoyash v'Sarif. V'lama nikosh Shman Machlin v'Chilyon. Why Machlin v'Chilyon? Machlin shasu gufan chulin, because they made themselves chulin by going to Chutz La'aretz. V'chilyon shenes chayvu kiloi lamakom, and Kilyon because they were chayiv, I guess, misa, destruction to God, I guess, for leaving Eretz Yisrael. Tanya Commander Omar Machlin v'Chilyon, and there's a brisa supporting the opinion who says that Machlin v'Chilyon Shman, that really the names were Machlin and Kilyon. The Tanya has one of the Bais. What does the pasuk mean in Divrei Hayom v'Yokim v'Anshe Kozeva v'Yoyash v'Soref asher balu l'Moab v'Yashuvi lochem v'Advarim atikim. What does this mean? V'Yokim ze Yoshua. So Yokim is Joshua. Shehikim Shvua la'Anshe Givon, who upheld his oath to the people, to the Gibeonites. Anshe Kozeva, and the tricky people, Elu Anshe Givon, these are the Gibeonites, She Kozvu be Yoshua, that they tricked Joshua. V'Yoash v'Sarif, Elu Machlin v'Chilyon. Yoash and Sarif is Machlin and Kilyon. If the name is really Machlin v'Kilyon, then why are they called Yoash v'Sarif? Yoash shenisiyashu min agula, Sarif shenischayvu sreifa lamokim. Ashabalu leMoab shenosu noshim yavios, that it says that they were married to Moab, i.e. that they married Moabite women, Rus and Orpah. V'yashuvu lochem zo Rus haMoaviyah, then Yashuvu lochem is Rus haMoaviyah sheshava v'nidbuka bebeis lechem Yehuda, that she came back and she married Odeid, who was from Yehuda. V'advarim atikim, and these are old ancient words. Dvarim alalu atik yomin amorin. These are things that the atik yomin, that Hashem kind of put in place. Tichsev matzosi David avdi. It says by David matzosi. Uchsev shtei benosecha animtzos. And it says by Lot, take your two daughters that are animtzos. So it says matzosi and nimtzos by David and by Lot's daughters. And of course, one of Lot's daughters had a child, Moab, and from Moab, and Moab was Rus, who then gave Rus HaMoaviyah. Then David came from her. Hema ayotzim v'yoshvei netorim v'gidei ugdera im hamelech b'mlachto yoshvu sham. What's that pasuk? Hema ayotzim, they are the protectors. These are the children of Yonadav and Rechav that they protected, they upheld their father's shvua to them not to drink wine, I believe. This is Solomon, that his kingship was like a sapling that grows, the Malchusa in his kingship. Gedera is a reference to the Sanhedrin, that they fenced the breaches of Israel and made sure to uphold the Torah and things like that. They sat together with the king in his work. That's Rus HaMoaviyah she'rasa b'malchus Shlomo ben Beno shel ben Beno, that she lived to see the reign of Solomon, her great grandson. Shneimar, as the Apostle says, Vayosem kisei le'em HaMelech, that he placed a chair, a throne for the mother of the king, V'amar Belazar le'ima shemalchus, to the mother of the kingship, to Rus HaMoaviyah. That it says in the pasuk that with regard to Shemitah, the Eibishter will increase the produce, the yield of the 6th year, and you'll have for the 6th year, the 7th year, and also for the 8th year until the next harvest. You'll be able to eat from the Tvua Yashin, from the older grain. Below salminton, there won't be any salminton in the grain. Mai below salminton, what's salminton? Rav Nachman Omer below ritzinosa, that there won't be any worms that eat up the grain. For Rav Sheshes Omer below shdifa, it will be without rot. Tani kavasa de Rav Sheshes, Tani kavasa de Rav Nachman. We have a Brisa supporting both Rav Sheshes and Rav Nachman. Tani kavasa de Rav Nachman. Brisa supporting Rav Nachman, who says that there won't be any worms. V'achatim yoshan, that you will eat the older grain. Yochel yisom etzapin l'chodesh, is it possible that the Yidden will be looking forward, that they can't wait for the new grain, finally, the new harvest, finally in the 8th year, because the old grain has been destroyed by these worms? Tamulomar, adbo tvuaso, no. Where is this? Yeah, tvuaso. That no, you will eat the old grain until the harvest of the 8th year comes. There won't be any rush. There won't be, the old grain will still be fresh. And it's not like you'll be saying, I can't wait until the harvest of the 8th year. Finally, we'll be able to get rid of this wormy grain or whatever. our ordinary grain is gone, we need the new stuff. No, all is going to be good. Tanya Kavas Rav Sheshes, we have a brisa like Rav Sheshes v'chatam and atvua yashin, you'll eat from the old grain. Yachal yisom mitzapim l'chodesh p'nei yashin she'ra. Maybe the Yidden will be looking forward to the new harvest, to the harvest of the 8th year, because the old grain was already rotten and no good. So Tamilomar adbo tvua, so ajtava tvua melea. No, when the grain comes in the 8th year, all will be good. Nobody's in a rush for anything. You will eat the yashan notion. Then anything that is older than its friend is better. Whatever is older is better. Now this only applies to things that you normally age, right? Older wine is more choshev than younger wine. How do I know though that even things that we don't normally age are better aged? Now this is key to explaining the Shevach of Eretz Yisrael. That in Eretz Yisrael, even things that we don't normally age, that normally if you age them, they will get rotten. No. In Eretz Yisrael, even those things you will preserve and they will be even better. Minayin, how do you know? Tamilomar Yashin Noshin Mikol Makom. It says Yashin Noshin, double Yashin. Of Yashin, that in general, all things that age will be Mamish Gaval. And we'll have to remove the old stuff because of the new stuff. There's going to be so much shefa that we won't be able to finish it all. And you're going to have the storage houses filled with the old grain, and the threshing floors will be filled with the new grain. How are we going to clear out the storage houses in order to put the new grain there? There was so much shefa. Papa says that all older things are better except for dates, beer, and small fish. We'll come back to Perek Hamocher Es Hasfina.